professional.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Car era lore. Call me Levi playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. Sipping on some rock and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like the Brown James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
boy.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits, yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, miny, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. I had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't already done so, do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below. Then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. We greatly appreciate it. Warms up the algo, lets everyone know we're here, and does us a real solid. The best GMers drop those GMs over in not only the X video feed, which is linked up top. We're also live over on Abstract and YouTube. Appreciate all the love and all those chats. It seems to be Abstract chat wins almost every day. They just get popping off over there. But Steve and I will do our best to keep eyes on all of them. As always, I'm Cap, I'm my co-host Steve. No financial advice in the show. Crypto is risky, NFTs is risky. Meme coins accept your risk and go to zero moments notice. Please don't put any money in you can't afford to lose. And know that Steve and I likely hold tokens we'll talk about from time to time here on the show. We are not financial advisors. We're certainly not your financial advisor. So just join us for some fun, some information, and some education along the way. GM, Steve, how you doing, sir?
GM, doing well. GM to everybody out there. Give us a like or retweet, a comment on the space. As always, that is super helpful with that discoverability, especially as Elon crashes out. We want to make sure we can get live on his platform. Only space live on X that is titled Pack Rips with Claynosaurz and Circle IPO, and no mention of the Elon and Trump feud this morning. I don't know. I don't need to get into, billionaire wiener swinging contests over here. It's just not really my billionaire war game I've ever witnessed. I will say that. I get it. But it is, you talk about got my popcorn. Like I shouldn't say zero. I have very little interest in quote unquote politics. It's not like I have my head in the sand. It's not something that interests me. I don't follow it closely. I just try to stay close to it. But this is, safe to say, like, this is an unprecedented feud. I know Elon is not an official world leader, but I don't know, man. It's just wild. Like, not expect. It's wild when
Aaron Rodgers finally signs. No one knows about it or talks about it because Elon versus Trump has taken over everything. I actually thought J-Bon had the best post on X last night. I don't know. Did you see J-Bon's post?
I did. It was a good one. It was a good one.
Very, very underrated. And I was like, this is an underappreciated post. He's like, yeah, the timeline's focused on something else right now. So, but yeah, it was. I'll go grab it and put it up top. It was the the infamous meme where there's people fighting and there's the one guy in the background hitting a bubbler, and it's like Elon versus Trump in the world right now, and then apes over in the corner hitting the bubbler saying, demolish the Dow. I love to see it. Also, Bored Ape Yacht Club winning the first game of the NBA Finals is pretty noteworthy. Probably worth a cold open mention, huh?
Yeah, no, finish out the GMs, and yeah, we can kind of cold open. We got Cab coming on in about 20 minutes or so, but GM Thomas, Von Frunten, Mesh, Vinny, Dwayne, Teacher Katie, Diablito, Machiavelli, KZ, Mesh, everybody out here in the chat. Thomas, your Steelers are not done because my fan fiction is that Will Howard becomes the truth, and I no longer have to be a Browns fan, and I can be happy for Will Howard and Jack Sawyer. GM to everybody over in the spaces as well. Machiavelli, Mel, Von Frunten, always across the chats. Clay still rocking the OKC gear even after a big sad day last night. Opportunist, OC continuing to grind out there in the streets. Diablito rocking the grind hat. Dobbins, Chief, Digital Dad, a lot of grind fans out there. Dwayne Law of the Saw, Boo, always appreciate you highlighting the OpenSea content I'm putting out there. Beanie, Kazi, Brick It All, Big Bear, Das Scrub. Man, the Newt official account been jumping in a lot lately. Makes me happy. You love to see it. I have been tipped in Newt on the platform before. And look, on the cold open, Tyrese Halliburton, most famous for being a member of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, hit a game winner last night again. He has, since I think it was like 1997, the most game winners in the playoffs, like with under 5 seconds or something, is...
Wow, really?
No. Number 2. You want to take a guess on number 1?
Since when? 97?
Yep.
Based on how you worded it, it's got to be Braun.
Oh, but he's not clutch. He doesn't hit game winners. What about Jordan Clutch? Oh, wait. All right. So Braun wasn't even a league.
Wait, game winners in the playoffs or game winners period?
Playoffs. So the clutch time when you need to actually be hitting game winners, and Braun wasn't in the league till like 7 years after that and still has the most game winners since 97. I don't know. Just it out there. I don't know. He's not clutch. He's not clutch though, right? He doesn't. Yeah.
I need a YouTube video. Why isn't there a YouTube video of all LeBron game winners?
Because the NBA sucks at marketing. That's why.
They're really bad. They're really bad.
Yeah.
Like they had a degenerate fan in me who was spending anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 a night. Not spending, but putting it in play on NBA DFS. Like I was watching almost every play of every game. I could have told you the rotations for every single team in the NBA blind. Like you could have asked me who's the 11th man off the bench for the Oklahoma Thunder, and I would have known it back when they were a bad team, and they lost me because it's just like they had such a someone should do a case study on this because this wasn't that long ago. It was like the Kobe era. They were so good at creating characters and leaning into their stars. And even like they created a star like Blake Griffin and he was a celebrity on Kia commercials. Like, it's just like they did a really good job of creating the character narratives. And then I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened, but the league went from me as a diehard, fan who was a vested degenerate to I don't even pay attention anymore.
Well, again, I'll get off my high horse. It won't be like 2 on this one because we'll get off it. Because very cool seeing it last night. Shout out Von Frunten, Indiana fan. I saw they were down 15 with like 9 minutes to go, and I literally I had a busy night last night. I had a lot going on, and then with 9 minutes to go or whatever, I saw they were down 15, and that's when I turned the game on because that's Indiana's time. And sure enough, finished strong. Came through when it mattered. Got the stops. And look, I'll get off it because it's a marketing problem we see in general. For Web3 doesn't do a good job. Or all these things we critique the marketing. With the NBA, it's just they have these large TV deals. Literally a playoff game for the Cleveland Cavaliers was blacked out in Cleveland. Like a playoff game. I can watch every Browns regular season game. I can watch this is the problem. Like the regular season is not watchable because of all these crazy packages. I have a friend who have a Cavs specific package, unless you have like NBA League Pass and like another special package, like a playoff game, the most important games of the season that only a few teams make, was blacked out in the market where the team was playing. Like this is their problem. So like I am a sports fan, but if you make me work that hard to watch my games, I'm not going to do it. Like, you know, so it's a matter of like, I can watch the Browns on Sunday, I can watch Buckeyes on Saturday when the Cavs are on, and I'm like, what channel are they on? Then I go to click and it's like, sorry, this isn't available in your area. It's like, I'm out. So they've just, yeah.
I haven't even looked at this, but I just went back and looked at the viewership numbers for the finals. Like the era I just referred to, every year in that era is more than 2x the viewers of the finals the last few years. It dropped off in 2020, obviously COVID year, I'm guessing. You would think there would have been more in that finals.
It's
like that was the lowest finals ever, and you would think that would have been more viewed because what else were people doing?
Well, they had a lot going on. I think people were like not wanting to do sports at that time. I mean, the bubble was fun. I actually loved the bubble tournament.
It just never recovered. Like they've done. Like, I'm just going to share this screen and then we'll move on from quote open. I know we got a lot to get into in actual real Web3 news, but like, look at this. Like the era I was referring to, every year there was like 10, 11 million would watch every game of the finals. And then it dropped to 8 in 2019, the Kawhi year. And then every year since, they haven't even broke like 6 million.
And there's
it's half the viewership.
There's more options. I get it. And like people are saying like, oh, like the stars aren't as fun or whatever. I like watching basketball. I enjoy NBA basketball. Like I enjoy it as a fan. I like to gamble on it. I like to do daily fantasy. Like I do all those things. I just can't. I like the fact, like, if you're going to make fans work it's like everything else in life. It's like you need to make it easy. Like one of James Clear's rules for habits is make it simple, right? Like make it simple is one of his rules. They make it very hard to watch your hometown team. We talked about this before, but it's like baseball's dying the same way. I couldn't tell you the Guardians starting players anymore because I have to have special packages. And I have a friend who paid extra money for a special package to get the Guardians. Can't watch them.
More people by a lot, by a couple million. We'll see. The finals, the ratings on game one aren't in yet, but I'm going to guess it's going to be more than at least a couple million more watch the NFL draft, Steve.
Right. Well, and again, because they create an event out of it. And there is some small market things in this. I don't care. I like the teams. They're awesome to watch. So I'm not mad about that. Like I love the Pacers and I like the Thunder. I don't love SGA because he's a foul merchant, but like I love the Pacers. And I
MLB is up, by the way. MLB is making research. I know it's not hit you yet, but it is up. And I just had to double check. They're up 22%. Like viewing attendance. The MLB, they made rule changes to like they were smart. They made rule changes to cater to the modern fan, the TikTok generation. They've drastically shortened the games. It's just you see like like someone's going to do, like, talk about business case studies. Someone needs to do a business case study on Savannah Bananas. I kid you not. I had a conversation with ChatGPT recently, Steve. What is another major sport where someone could do something like the Savannah Bananas? If you're not familiar, they're just like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. They're selling out football stadiums everywhere they go. They'll have 100,000 people watch a baseball game.
There's a guy who hit a double with a bat that was on fire. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, they literally lit his bat on fire.
Like they're having fun. They're incorporating the fans. That's obviously not Major League Baseball, but baseball also they're adjusting. The NBA seems to be going the wrong direction for some reason. I don't even know what the suggestion would be, but these other sports seem to be getting it, and they're picking up what NBA is losing.
Yeah, it's just like I said, like when you make it incredibly difficult to watch your team, that's it. You need to make it easy. Period. Point blank. Simple as that. Like I think it's just a matter of like I struggle. Like if I can't tell you. If I can only watch like 7 Cavs games a year when they're on national TV, like that's like I said, like I have a friend who pays for a Guardians package and pays for a Cavs package and still gets blacked out sometimes. So it's just people give up on it.
Not just you. I'll let you go to Joey here next. But Diablito says he had an NBA package, couldn't even watch his Raptors in Canada when they had home games. He's 4,000 kilometers away from the stadium, doesn't have cable TV. So no Raptors for me, gave up watching the other teams. I think you're right, Steve. I think it has a lot to do with it. I wasn't a particular team fan, but I subscribed to NBA League Pass when I was, a degenerate DFSer, and it makes no sense why you would black out your home fans. Like, there's not enough money to alienate your most loyal fan base. I don't think, and I do. I think that's maybe the biggest problem the NBA has is they're making it very difficult for their fans to enjoy the game.
Somebody comes along and says, here's a big check for a network deal. They take the network deal, and it's like not everybody's the Yankees who has their own network where you have the Yes Network that you can watch it on. It's just, it's they take the network deals for the short-term money. The owners don't care, and the fans are the ones who end up losing. So, and it's also like pricing people out of stadiums. Like Tebow and I in college used to be able to spin up and, gamble some money. We win a couple $100 and we were able to sit in the lower bowl for like a Cavs playoff game. Like we would literally decide like, hey, YOLO, let's go watch the Cavs play the Bulls in the first round of the playoffs, sit in the lower bowl. Like I have a picture. I'll see if I can find it and share it in the chat. I have a picture and you can see how close my seats were where Tebow and I have a couple of $100 for the tickets. It's like those tickets now go for like $2,000 to sit in the lower bowl or something. So it's like price me out as a, almost 42-year-old professional. And we used to go as, 22-year-old or, 20-year-old college kids who are just getting crazy. But I'll put that picture in the chat. We'll let Joey Valls get in here, and then we will go to the news of the day before we get Cab on here. I think in about 15 minutes, although he might be running a little behind. We'll let you know. But Joey, go ahead and get in here, GM.
GM, guys. It's funny. Last night, a couple friends came over. My wife cuts hair, so she was cutting their hair. And we were talking about, like, marketability and, like, what things are successful right now. Because we were talking about, CrossFit and gyms and whatever. And High Rocks, for those that aren't familiar, right, it's relatively new. It's nothing special. It's running, sled pushing, lunging, very normal gym movements that anybody can do. And they're absolutely blown up. Every single event they put on all over the world is completely sold out. They run from like they only do one day. It runs from like 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people do it. And there's two reasons why. Number one, accessibility. Literally anybody can go do it, unlike something like CrossFit where it's a barbell or whatever. And number two, their marketing department is absolutely genius. The way that they've infiltrated the fitness industry. And the reason why I'm bringing them up is because I feel like, and I said this in the war room, the NBA is not doing a very good job of, and maybe, and I have no idea, it doesn't seem like they spend any money helping these young athletes with PR, with comms, with marketability, and they don't do a good job of marketing their business anymore. Like to Cap's point, when you look back at like what it was like when you had, players, like I remember there was a point where almost every commercial was an NBA player, every car commercial, every sneaker commercial, like everything. And maybe that's because we no longer watch TV with commercials.
No,
everything is live streamed now.
There's a couple reasons. There's a couple reasons.
Name a single commercial outside of maybe a sneaker where I've seen an NBA player.
No, there's a couple reasons for this. One, they own their own media. It's the same reason I'm doing a Substack versus going to some traditional publications, because I kind of want to own my own thing. So I think there's that level of it. I think there's a level of the fact that they don't let them have that their personalities are shown that way versus being encouraged to be like, you know what? Go ahead and say F that guy. Like, we're not going to like make it a whole deal. And like, don't worry. Like, there's this culture around it where it's like less like we talk about the fact that we don't have rivalries in the NBA anymore. Like, it's good. There are people in the NFL who don't like each other. Tyreek Hill said he hates the Bills fans. That is good. There's also this stupid thing in the NBA compared to the NFL where they act like small markets are bad, where they're like, oh no, this is small market finals. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, people celebrate the small market teams. Cap, I'll share this before we go to Web3 news of the day. These seats Tebow and I sat in were like, I don't know, maybe a couple $100 each or something like that, because we were able to afford them in college. These seats, like this is a playoff game, an opening night playoff game. You see the guy wearing the shirt in front of us, an opening night playoff game against the Bulls in the first round of the playoffs, the first game of the playoffs. We randomly drove up from Columbus to Cleveland on a whim, slept in my basement from my parents' house, bought tickets, zipped downtown for the game, and these tickets were like a couple $100. Now those things go for like literally probably like $2,000 or something if you look at those like lower bowl seats. It's just it's an untenable product to get to, and it's become really corporate. So anyway, we can get off our high horse on that one. Congrats to Von Frunton.
Guess how much these this was finals against the Warriors in Cleveland. Guess how much these tickets were?
How much? No idea. 500?
I don't know. I was spoiled and got treated to the game.
Oh, look at that. So they're free. No, we
Wait, real quick on the Savannah Banana thing too. There was an interview. I watched an interview recently. You know, there's over 3 million people that are on a waiting list to join, that want to play essentially in the Savannah Bananas League as they expand and add more teams, because the popularity is so big. Like he just did an interview where he said that he's being contacted by stadiums, because the biggest stadium they've done so far, I think, is like 60,000.
No, they've definitely done more than that. I have to get the exact number. I'm pretty sure they've went over 100,000. I think this might be a mistake, though. It's going to be. I'm very curious to see how it plays out. I think diluting their product might be a mistake. I understand why they're building a league, but the founders of, like, I mean, they've done it. They've accomplished it. I don't know how much they're risking their wealth on starting this league, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting play. I just don't know if there's that much demand for this secondary league, or it absolutely crushes it. And then I think if this Savannah Bananas League does well, I do think we'll start seeing, like, I don't know, maybe like a 3-on-3 NBA league actually start capturing viewership. Or I don't know how you would pull it off with football. I mean, I know they have like the secondary football leagues already, but
I don't think they need him. I mean, they have some secondary football leagues that do just fine, but like, I don't think they need secondary football leagues. I think the NFL and the college football do an effective job. And I think it's sort of like, you know how like certain things are made special because you don't get them all the time and all those things. Like, I think NFL is made special by the fact that you count down 100 days till football, 50 days till football, and then it comes up, and then you're sad when it's gone, and you say like only a few days left. Like, I think that's it. Cap, but I don't know, man. Like, I just
multiple people in the chat mentioning the sad about NBA TNT ending, and yeah, I think it's another blow. It's going to cost them more fans.
I mean, ESPN's getting it. It's just as long as ESPN doesn't ruin the product and throw Stephen A. Smith on there every day and just let it be. Because if they try to ruin the product, Charles Barkley will say live on air they're trying to ruin their product. So, the
Savannah Bananas takes place when outside of the season, which is one thing that they have going for them. It's like when Major League Baseball's not going on is when the Savannahs, because a lot of their players do play like minor league ball professionally. And there's already 4 teams, I believe. So they've kind of already expanded.
It looks like their largest crowd was they sold out Clemson's Memorial Stadium for 81,000.
Very nice.
Was they did sell out the Raymond James Stadium here in Tampa, which is 65,000. They sold that out in March, and then they beat it in April at Clemson Stadium.
Yeah, college stadium's different animal. But Cap, I know we got Cap coming on here. Probably
2 things. I don't want to forget. Hold up, Joey. You got a hot mic. 2 things, Steve. One, I don't know. One thing. I forgot the other thing. But one thing, we got to shout out our guy, Ian. I'm not sure if he's out there yet. Major congrats. Pumped for our guy. We talk about wins. We see people take victory laps on the timeline. Maybe I shouldn't be outing him. I wasn't gonna say a name. I'm not gonna say a last name. There's a lot of Ians in this space. But long story short, we had a member of the War Room print their first million yesterday on the Circle IPO. So really pumped, proud of him. Took a shot on Circle early on, and
from living in his car. Like, let's actually make this very like clear, like how cool this is and how exciting this is. Because like Cap and I are figuring out how we're duct taping a career together, making things work, pulling in sponsors. This guy got in the Circle IPO relatively early, took a shot and pushed on it, believed in something, and printed a milli with still more running because the Circle IPO absolutely cooked. From living in his car to a millionaire is just the coolest thing.
Not on paper, like cash out $1 million yesterday. It still has like 500-600 grand riding, but yeah, cash out $1 million yesterday.
Yeah, this isn't someone taking screenshots of their like whiff that ran and they don't sell it and then it goes all the way back down. This is a person who cashed out in hand, is now sitting on 7 figures because of conviction, because of their belief, because of being in the space, because of the opportunity. And I had that on my list. It's like, so if people missed it yesterday, Circle, the stablecoin app, USDC, you use it, I use it, everyone uses it, drops an IPO. Starts around $30 trading or whatever. At one point, it hit $100. Trading had to be halted by all of the activity of it. The market cap now, or sort of the valuation, like fully diluted with everything coming out, is something around what's in them, 20 billion or something like that, which is insane numbers. I think the IPO people who got into that round needed to go to like 60 to get to $1 million, and it went to 100. So that's like 2 million with a lot riding there. Just an incredible story, and an incredible like positive movement towards sort of, mass adoption and usage. Because, to me, I thought NFTs, not because I am selfish and wrote the book on them and we love NFTs. I thought NFTs had a very strong opportunity to be the thing that brings more people in to Web3. Just thinking about NFTs as like, look, like people are going to use them. It's logical for brands. It makes sense for rewards. They're more accessible. It just seems like stablecoins are it. People see the yield opportunity.
Uber going to introduce them. I mean, it's just like, yeah, this is it's this most straightforward, real use case that crypto has delivered, and we talk about it's enhancing something that exists in the world today. This just so happens to be something that everyone does. Everyone transacts. If you're a living, human, breathing being, you transact somehow, and this is just a better way to transact.
Yeah,
better, cheaper, more efficient way to transact. I think this is just the beginning. A couple days ago they were talking about pricing at 28, 29. As you mentioned, they priced the IPO at 31, and it just ripped. So, what do you think this does for? Like, what do you think's next? Do you think has USDC, has Tether, have they won? Do you think we'll just see? Do you think stable coins will be like blockchains in the future, where they'll almost just be? There'll be hundreds of actual real viable stable coins we just all use. We don't think about who's backing it. Or do you think Circle and Tether continue to expand their lead?
This is what I'm trying to figure out here do we just continue to see Circle absolutely cook, right? Like, I just don't know, like, if it's like just Circle, if it's more like, I don't know if it's I don't know.
I did see not all their investors were pleased. I saw Laura Shin this morning. Her leading article was a middle finger to Circle. One of their investors was salty. I'll see if I can go grab it. I think the tweet's since been deleted, but it is like basically FU Circle. They had attempted to buy like $10 million in the IPO, and Circle only gave them like 135 grand, and they were pissed because they were pissed because they've been supporting Circle this whole time. They're crypto native, and per this other investor, I need to go grab it, so I can speak more intelligently, but they basically said, like, here, instead of supporting the people who believed in them and supported them this whole time, they gave all the preferential treatment and all the allocation to TradFi bankers who don't have wallets. They're not even going to use the product, and you're pretty salty. Let me go grab it, and that'll give like the other perspective of, while it seems like a very successful IPO, and it certainly was price action wise, I think they may have created some more competitors in the stablecoin arena, and that's why I brought that up.
So that's interesting. You think, like, there's two ways to look at that. On one hand, you could say, look, like, Laura has every right to be annoyed. Laura Shin has every right to be.
It was someone else. She was just sharing the news, so she wasn't annoyed, but she was basically referencing this other investor who was furious.
Yeah, she has the right to be annoyed on behalf of the other investor. Like, right, like she's a reporter of the news. That's how she does things. She's actually one of the most, again, like the best of the best when it comes to this sort of thing.
You know how wild this app is, though, Steve?
How's that?
She's like a notable journalist, been around forever, written books, has one of the leading podcasts on the space. And the reason you didn't see this because no one saw. Like, her morning tweet that's her basically her Substack has 14 likes.
It's like so interesting, the stuff this space, like,
look, man, like no one saw this. 3,000 views, 14 likes, and a one-fingered message to Circle. Well, this is just her daily update, her Unchained Daily. So it's like, she shouldn't be linking it here. Maybe that's, someone needs to teach her how to use Twitter properly. But Arca CIO is who said this. Arca CIO, early Circle backers slams the IPO in explicit filled letter. Despite having an enormously successful public debut, soaring 168%, Jeff Dorman, this chief investment officer of Arca, one of Circle's earliest backers, shared this on X. He headed up the now deleted post on X, an open letter to, he tagged the founder and Circle called FU, and stating why, because they placed a $10 million order for Circle IPOs months ago on day one of Circle's roadshow and only received a measly $135,000, or just 1.35% of their order, described it as a joke. You decide to give fat allocations to TradFi mutual funds and hedge funds who didn't even likely read your prospectus, have no wallets, will never use your product. Most of Arca's management team left Wall Street 8 years ago to start crypto native companies to specifically get away from TradFi clowns like you. Ironically, you've come full circle. You and Coinbase deserve each other, a match made in heaven for two incompetent management teams who are early, but screw everything up you touch.
Okay, so what are your feelings on this? Because on one hand, I get the complaint. The person only made like, a couple $1 million or whatever this thing, boo-hoo. And like, I get that. And I know that that's probably like the wrong way to look at it. Like, and I'm being a little tongue in cheek there. I don't know, man. On one hand, don't you want traditional finance to want to champion this? Like, there's that. On the other hand, you want to like support those who are early and interested investors. So there's
why not both? Yeah, you do a roadshow day one. Someone commits to 10 million who's been supporting you from day one. You fill the order. That's my thought. I've never done an IPO, so who am I to say? But I think on principle, if someone's been taking that at face value, if that's actually true, if they've been supporting them from the early days, they left TradFi to support crypto, build out crypto native companies. Day one on the roadshow, you pitch them, they respond with a $10 million order, and you fill 1% of it, and then give it to TradFi. I'd be pissed too.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's I get that point. It's like, why not both on that? So maybe a botch there, but like, I don't know. Like, I get the other perspective. My lean, and look, this is easy for me to say because I don't have the money to be, doing these sort of things. So it's easy for me to say. My lean is towards, I want to see more adoption of this technology, particularly stablecoins. Makes a lot of sense. We talked about it. Stablecoins in a DFS app, like the fact that you could earn yield while actually using that money and have it on crypto rails and make it easier makes sense. Uber letting you pay in that way, like other companies letting you pay in that way. Like, it just makes sense for them. And it's just a matter of like, this is a great sort of very understandable, easy opportunity. Crypto was founded on the idea of being better, easier money. So I think like the stablecoin adoption makes a lot of sense there. Let's do this. We're going to bring on Cap here in a second to do a couple pack rips. But first, before that, because we can, maybe we'll talk a little bit more, we'll talk a little bit more of this afterwards. But I'm going to go ahead and do the More You Know by ENS on Circle. Then we will transition into pack rips. I know we only got the Claynosaurz team for about a half hour, so excited for that. But we'll do the More You Know real quick on that before we get into it.
The More You Know, brought to you by ENS.
It's time for the More You Know, brought to you by ENS. And let's talk about IPOs in traditional finance merging with mark moment for the crypto industry. Yesterday, Circle, the issuer of the USDC stablecoin, made a sensational debut on the New York Stock Exchange, priced at $31. Shares soared to over $83 by market close, marking a 168% surge and valuing the company at more than $18 billion. The blockbuster IPO underscores the growing investor appetite for regulated digital assets and signals a potential resurgence in crypto-related public offerings, especially in a more favorable political environment. Meanwhile, the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs are going to gain traction. Bitcoin is up around 12% over the past week. Ethereum up over 20%, helped by 14 straight days of inflows into ETH ETFs. The Fidelity-Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund, FBTC, one of the leading spot Bitcoin ETFs, has also seen impressive growth. Since January 2024, FBTC has appreciated by approximately 75%, reflecting a strong institutional demand. I know my friends who are in traditional finance who got in on that early. I was like, hey, buy this thing, or like, it's my best performing asset over the past year. As the crypto sector continues to mature, these developments highlight the accelerated convergence between digital assets and traditional finance. And that was the More You Know, brought to you by ENS. ENS does more than you know, not just anchoring your name across Web3, but anchoring across the internet. It's your identity, simple, memorable, and unmistakably yours. Security, interoperability, and ease of use. Go to ens.domain, secure your ENS domain today. Cap, super excited to do some Claynosaurz pack grips and talk to our friends. Let's bring them on stage. We do a little pack grip here. We do a little pack grip. First of all, GM.
By the way, just a heads up. because you said on stage, I know we had issues yesterday. If there's anyone like I don't see anything on stage right now. I thought they were on stage on the spaces. We had issues yesterday. I think it's still continuing on. So if anyone's like requesting up, or if you're on stage and we don't see you, drop us a comment in the chat. Just tag us, because something's been funny with Twitter Spaces last couple days.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you need us to do both?
If you want.
Completely up to you.
Cool. I'm
Totally
gonna
up to
join
you.
a Twitter Spaces.
If you do jump up there, just leave your X account on mute, and all the audio
Cool.
in the video.
Got it.
But yeah, but either way, GM fellas, so we obviously talked to you right as Mint was closing, and it was absolute pandemonium. 97,000 plus packs. Like, you're sitting there saying, are we going to get to 25K? Selfishly was hoping maybe for a little less. I didn't pull any Popkins, but I'm also going to probably buy some today. I was showing them to my family. They're super cute. What has the past week felt like? It has been, I'm sure, a whirlwind. I'm sure it's flown by. Talk about the past week in the world of Claynos and how it feels seeing the timeline actually celebrate a novel mechanic and some cool things you guys are doing.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, dude. It's like seeing everybody celebrate a novel mechanic. It is a source of pride for us. It's sort of part of our DNA at Claynos is to do things differently and to kind of like always take the perspective of zooming out, trying to think of like where can the space head or where is it going, and kind of skating where the puck is headed. And every time it works out, feels great, obviously. And yeah, it's been a wild week, starting from weeks ago, really. It's like if anybody's ever been through a mint internally, it is an absolute like storm internally and externally. There's so many things to kind of coordinate together. I've got Plap with me, who's been there since the very beginning of the Claynos journey. One of the guys that got me into crypto, actually, and we grew up together. And so he's a veteran of mints, but this one was absolute bonkers, because there were so many moving pieces. Of course, we're exploring a new chain, so that comes with certain hurdles. We're doing our first ever major expansion, which for many people at the beginning was like, okay, like, does that make sense? And I was like, well, guys, look, it does. You're going to see why. And then TV show gets announced, video game is about to come out. We'll release a slew of storyboards and all the kind of things that we're thinking about Popkins. The achievement system is out and being bolstered. That comes into play for all of our collectibles. So, there's an ecosystem that's being built out. And that was the whole point of the thesis, is that we want to put people in a situation where collectors collect. Like, they want to line up for the next drop. And the next drop is part of the staking system. And the next drop is part of the lore. But above and beyond everything, it's a gamified collector's experience, akin to what you see like when Pop Mart drops a new collectible and people line up for it, and that was the whole point of this, and it worked out pretty well.
Clap, would love your point of view on that. I mean, a new chain, first of all, a chain that isn't probably the biggest mint, I would assume, ever on their chain. I think it's. I'm just gonna go ahead and say they could fill the largest college football stadiums with the amount of people who minted. Probably the highest mint ever. So massive numbers. What's it like going through your head when you're like, okay, we're trying to think, like, was the chain part nervous a little bit? It seemed to work out pretty well, but there's like one of the things we talk about is the tech barrier to entry here sometimes. And I'm like, okay, so I need to get USDC from Solana, then I need to flip it over to SWI, and then I need to buy it here, and then I need to get SWI on the secondary market, which has been a vibrant secondary market. So one, talk about the new chain. And then two, like, I guess, like, give me the perspective of like, that relief of like, okay, like, I'm sure that the chain themselves is pretty happy with you, right? Like, you pick a partner, it's probably important to have the partner happy, right, Plap?
Oh, absolutely. And to talk a little bit to what Nick was talking about there, it's our second big mint. We did the first one in 2022, a week after the FTX collapse. And it was the same kind of sentiment, right? Sol was kind of at an all-time low. It was at, $10, $11. And we weren't sure we were going to sell out. We had the confidence in ourselves, but we weren't sure that the market sentiment was there and that it was the right timing. But we'd been building this for a little over a year then, right? Solana was having some issues with the tech, with the chain itself. Magic Eden was still somewhat new. They're absolute all-stars, and that the platform now is arguably flawless. But back then we still had big mints that were, not working. They would crash the chain. They wouldn't have secondary. So there were still a lot of those external factors that would play into a mint and the general sentiment on your very first day of launching a product. So we had that a bit of experience. We did the whitelist there, a little bit different. We had some one-of-one auctions. We always try to innovate and not just do status quo. Not that there's anything wrong with the current methods out there, but we try to innovate and try and do things a little bit different. So we have a little bit of experience with that, but it was 2 years ago. A lot has changed since then. The market conditions are a lot different. And of course, in true Claynosaurz fashion, the second mint was a week after Cetus. Which was pretty funny after everything with FTX. I know a lot of people were negatively affected with both, so I don't mean to joke about it. But internally, we were definitely like, wow, our mint luck is definitely not there. The mint day itself, I think, went very well. We started off, we sold the 25,000 packs day one in the first 24 hours, which again was in all of our minds just like, oh my God, right?
13 hours, I think. I think by midnight, we had sold out the first 25K packs and we busted past that.
Absolutely. And our biggest thing here was, for our holders, we're trying to bring on new users here, right? We've got the Solana native people. Again, for the Claynosaurz OG mint, we went chain agnostic up until, 2 weeks before we launched so that we could try to bring people in regardless of chain, right? I'm here for this NFT. I'm here for this project. I believe in Cab. I believe in Plab. I believe in this team. I don't care where they're minting because I'm here for them, right? I don't care if someone's headquarters is in Montreal or in New York. I believe in the company, and that's why I'm investing. That's why I'm taking the chance on them. And that's what we wanted to do. So we tried to do something similar here, although, everybody knew we were going to be on Sui, but we marketed to Ethereum maxis, Sol maxis, Arbitrum, AVAX, Bitcoin, everything to try to bring people in to what we're building and not where we currently are. So there definitely were, after the packs sold out, a few minor hiccups here. We stress tested the site for, 2, 3, 400,000 transactions in the first hour. We ended up with 1.5 million. And this is after the packs are already bought, right? So we've got 100,000 packs out there, or just under. We've got some legendary, we've got some escape packs, and we had 1.5 million transactions in the first hour. So, we, the network, everything wasn't quite prepared for that because it's 15x of everybody opening it in the first hour. So there were a few little minor hurdles there. Our RPC, which we had the absolute top level of RPC, was overloaded. We had, a couple thousand NFTs stuck in a queue, but we worked through that. The Sui team, the Tradeport team, Miston Labs, Tusky, absolutely everybody has been phenomenal through this. So while I will say, Sui is not quite as advanced as Solana, they're still somewhat nascent. The teams are definitely not inexperienced. These guys are absolute all-stars. Every problem we've had a full team of devs on it for, hours until it's solved, and they very quickly figure that out.
I look at this and I feel like these are the green shoots coming from the garden here, finally, where y'all have done things in a way that, we've always been a fan of. It's very aligned with our values in here. We're not as much like, what's the next scheme to get the person to do the next thing? Rather, hey, what are some innovative things we can do? What are some real brands we can build? Putting out a cartoon series with a major property, putting out a game series with a major property, high effort in your art, high effort in your mints, thoughtful cross-chain mechanics, seeing stuff like that. The wrecked sale, seeing what happened with that, where it's like, oh my God, people are redeeming a product. This is what gets us excited. So I think we see these green shoots. My only beef, which I have one beef with you guys, is that my plan was I was going to buy a Clayno after the drop, because surely you were going to drop by 50% on your floor price, and I was going to get something. You're up from your floor price, and that is a mistake on my part. It was a misjudgment in the market. I've been looking to get a Stego for God, I don't know how long. I am not a rich man, so I'm just figuring out, okay, how do I get this? How do I get this? And I'm like, all right, this is perfect. They're dropping a secondary collection. So what's going to happen? We're going to see this thing drop by half, and I'm going to be able to get one. And then they'll go back up, and it'll be all great, but I'm going to get a great entry point. Not the case. Are you surprised by that? I know floor price talk is sometimes a bit of a faux pas, but were you guys surprised to see the floor up after mid? What's going on here? I don't think I've ever seen that before. Not a single time.
Not surprised. relieved. If you saw Andrew's, our CEO's big post on where he thinks the NFT space is headed, as far as collectibles are concerned, there's outliers like punks that really represent like, you know, everything Web3 and they have that provenance and punks are punks. But for other collections that are based on IP expansion, this was always the way. Not just capsule collections after the original collections, but expansionary collections are actually what drive demand long term to the original collectibles. Otherwise, you're not growing. It's almost like a saying like, okay, like when Pop Vinyl was doing their thing, well, they still are, but Funko Pop, you know, that's like saying like the only thing that they should have is the first collectible they ever release. How could you possibly drive demand if you don't have that ongoing banner space that's being spread across different shelves? And that was basically the thesis in a nutshell, and it worked out pretty well. Popkins was a bit of a surprise when we announced it, but over time, everybody understood. Oh my God, like I think this is actually the way. It drove excess demand back to the original collectibles. Of course, you know, TV show timing, announcement timing was amazing as well. And we have so much stuff that are going on. So I think that everybody's starting to understand that we mean business, that we're here to change things, and that will be one of the greats as far as IPs that come out of the woodwork from the Web3 story, and just kind of change the game. Even from a raffling system, we're looking at like, well, what's Adidas doing? What's PopMart doing? And what would they want to do that they can't possibly do right now? And it's transparent raffling systems and the death of the queue system, which is kind of what the point of this type of mint was, where you can drive demand towards a collectible drop. You do not have to wait in line. Everybody can get into this, and if you don't get that raffle, you get bonuses for participating, but you get your money back instantly, which is something that Web3 and Web2 can't pull off.
The death of the queue system is a banger. That's actually a great way of putting it, because I think that's one of the things that frustrates people, and they just want it to be easier. They just want it to be more seamless, and they want it to be provable and verifiably fair. And I think that's what we got here. So that's awesome. And again, like the way one thing connects to another in this space, and then I'm going to pull up because I want to rip some packs and we'll explain the mechanics to people a little bit. But, you know, Dort said, bro, I went Laudio 1 week ago, and this week I have a dope Clayno and a cute Popkin for basically a 0.02 pre-sale LFG. It's like the way this space connects to one thing or other, why I don't tend to criticize people who are farming or doing things, is people like Dort, who he's a collector. He did Laudio to get a little bit of that airdrop in that top 1,000. He claimed that, and he immediately rolled that back into the ecosystem, and now he's living large in the Clayno ecosystem. So you love to see that sort of thing. Congrats to Dort out there, and love seeing people getting in the Clayno world. And I am now in the Clayno ecosystem. Finally, I did rip one pack just to kind of go through the experience. So I wanted to
Let's go. What did you think of the website? So again, dude, you know this, like in 3 years and even pre-mint, like the whole thing that we do at Clayno is like as try hard as possible, but it is to build experiences that you know, we're not 100% there yet. Obviously, it's tough to build on chain, but it's to build experiences and a product that is always built for Web2 consumers, or at least is heading there. Because the theory is like, you don't want to just build to the Web3 meta from a design POV and all that kind of stuff. You got to build, whether it's the characters or the content, whether it's the UX, you got to think about like, well, if I was actually trying to put this up in a real store or put this up on the Steam store or whatever, would it be accepted by normies? Is that something that they want to participate in? And if you build it for that audience where the bar is actually substantially higher, then your product is just going to be good and you're just going to stick out. And so, yeah, the website is awesome. Jack and the team and Will, everybody absolutely crushed it. And we can go through that later, but I know you're streaming, so it's like a good opportunity to take people through this Mint website. I think it's one of the best Mint sites out there.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job with it. I actually had this commentary. So I have I've been like sitting on my hands because I'm like always afraid to put my work out in the wild. It gives me anxiety. I'm sure that's like probably resonates you at a little bit of a bigger stage with the mint.
You
but,
must have been an artist in a past life.
I mean,
yeah.
it is like, well, I mean, like I put out a book, it did well. Like I'm great. It did well. It ended up being a bestseller. But when you put it out, you're like, what if nobody buys or reads this? And like, I spent a year and a half working with like a major publisher on something that doesn't even exist in the wild. And it's like, I've been writing these long form articles about the space. And one of them is actually about the idea that if our Web3 experiences don't mirror the Web2 experiences, if we're only talking to the audience that's here, then we're not going to have escape velocity out of this space. Like you need to have things that have a Web2 bar. Web3 can't be the selling point. It needs to be an additive thing to what you are doing. And I have a whole piece about whether it's the over-financialized mechanics or whether it's the tech barrier. I'm working on a tech barrier article right now, which is like, talking about what you need to do with layer 2s and those opportunities. So very much agree with that on the Mint site. And the Mint site was great. It worked really well. It was easy to use. Here you can see the site. I opened one pack, very seamless. It has my items. I got a sticker coming in, good sounds, obviously get a pack, get some packs, get some Popkins here, and you have sort of your 3 packs. So let's get to nuts and bolts because there is a lot of complexity to this. So people understand sort of the complexities of it. So I only have the escape packs, boo-hoo, I'll get some pity points, but there is the Popkins Unleashed. There's the sort of 2 separate packs, the legendary packs, and I believe this is the Popkins pack themselves. Talk about the 3 types of packs and what people are looking at. If they look at this dashboard and they've got one of each, what would they be getting out of each before we rip open mine?
Okay, so Sash, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So I'll go in, I guess, chronological order here. So all the way on the right, we see the Rat Pack. And again, going back to what I said previously in the call, we always try to do things a little bit differently. Cab coming from the animation and entertainment industry, a big part of what we've always tried to do is make people feel something, right? Rather than just having, okay, I kind of vibe with this, I like it, and it's going to sit there and hopefully, someday I'm going to sell it and make money. Okay, great. That works for some projects. But for us as an entertainment company first, we want to make sure that we can bring people along for the ride with us. So the Rat Packs was in 2023, we gave out booster packs in real life with an NFC chip. For people who are not familiar with this, similar to a QR code, but you tap it and it brings you to a website. The website allowed you to mint one of the rats or a pizza at the time. Because we were in New York. So we had the pizzas for a year. Nothing happened. People were wondering what it was. Cabs started leaking. These are going to turn into rats. Okay, how's the rat going to come in? We're going to have companion characters. That's kind of cool. And then we ended up launching the Popkins. So when we launched the Popkins, you could then change your pizza for a rat. There's only 650 of them, so the rare species in there. So that's the blue one. The one all the way on the left, the escape pack, was our fun way of trying to make losers winners. And when I say losers, not in the traditional, like, oh, you're a loser, but like you didn't get a Popkin, right? So you got a raffle pack, you spend your $200, you get 100% of that back. We covered the mint, so people didn't lose 5 cents, 10 cents. You got your full $200 back. If you didn't get a Popkin, you got an escape pack, and that's the one all the way on the left. The escape pack, what's in there is the potential to win an egg, which will turn into an in-game asset when our game launches in October later this year. If you're not familiar with that, that is going to be built by Gameloft. They do some absolutely incredible games, including Asphalt, Assassin's Creed Mobile, some of the Avengers, really, really top games. So that's going to be an in-game asset. You also have the possibility to get one of the escape cards. And the idea here was having, the biggest loser. So if people lose in the sense of they didn't get their Popkin, they have the potential to get one of these 10 escape cards. They have varying drop rates from 30% down to 2%, and they're soul-bound. So you can't trade these. You can't buy some from someone else. You can't get them OTC. They are truly in your wallet. So if you have all 10 of those, you will have eventually a badge in our achievement system, and you'll be able to always say, I was one of the biggest losers. In addition to that, on the leaderboard, the pity points, and we called them pity points or escape points because we pity you for not getting the Popkin. The top 50 will win a Claynosaurz, an OG Claynosaurz, so the ones on Solana. And these are not just any ones. These are ones we minted day one. They've never left the vault. They've never interacted with a marketplace, with a protocol, with a lending system, true virgin NFTs. And we've got some of our most, most coveted NFTs in there, charcoal, mist, etc. And the center one is, the reason why we're all here, the Popkins. So the center pack, if you open that, it's called a legendary pack. You're guaranteed to receive a Popkin, but you don't know what that is. This rarity system and the actual randomization is done all on chain, which is different, than some of the mints we've done in the pack, which is why there is that slight delay. So we have to call on a database. We have to input, a randomization or random number generator, find your Popkin and send it to you. So this takes, anywhere from 3 to 5 seconds, depending on your system. We also then have a batch system. We understand there are a lot of whales out there. Myself, I've been slowly accumulating Claynosaurz over time, and I'm up to 124. And, I won't say we designed the system for me because that would be selfish, but for everybody out there who has, more than 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 Claynosaurz, to sit there and open the packs can be a little repetitive. Some people want to just get it over with. So that's the run through of those 3 packs. No matter what you're opening, it's a lot of fun. And again, you can win other things than just the Popkin there. So everybody truly is a winner.
Yeah, it's fun. I think now here's one question I was trying to figure out. Is there a way to actually get the packs? Because when I was looking at the packs, it doesn't look like any are actually listed for sale. Like I actually wanted to get a legendary pack for today to open it. Looks like people are not even listing for sale. Or you mentioned soulbound on the, you mentioned the soulbound nature of the escape packs. That way people are kind of selling their escape packs, as fugazi sort of, confusing legendaries. But are legendaries buyable on secondary, or are those actually soulbound as well?
So that's a great question. So the legendaries will be buyable. And yesterday when we had our little bit of a delay, we were supposed to go on stream. What we were actually solving for was exactly this. So on Sui, you have something called a kiosk where there is an indexer in the kiosk. The NFTs currently are locked in there. So when we think about on Solana PNFTs or Ethereum, we had certain marketplaces enforcing royalties. This was Sui's way of doing this as well. Once an NFT is in your kiosk, the only way you can transfer that without the project's pre-written approval in the NFT is to interact with a marketplace. So what happened here was because we had NFTs that were minted and indexed, 1 to 97,500, and then we wanted to turn those into packs, and then those packs turned into NFTs. There was a last minute issue with the indexing between the pack and the second pack and the NFT, where the kiosks were separate and not talking to each other. So we, at the moment, have that locked, but we are working with various developer teams who are, absolute all-stars in the Sui ecosystem to get those tradable in the next, hopefully, 24 to 48 hours.
I like it's got to feel good saying index 1 to 97,500. That look, I saw a little smile go across your face as you were saying that. So
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I want to say that like this, the experience has sound, all that kind of stuff. Like Sasha says, in layman's terms, the legendary booster packs will go on secondary very soon. So you can list unopened Popkin packs. And then maybe after this, if you weren't able to pick up legendary pack, Plap can also stream on his side and show you guys like burst mode, or opening like a single pack and then opening burst mode, because we needed to solve for like, hey, if people want to have a lot of packs and they want to open a lot of them at the same time, what does that look like?
Yeah, I saw somebody who completed their sort of sets of stickers with I think it was like they had opened like 250 of 300 packs or something.
Yeah. So memory shards is what we call them. And we'll do more of that. Like if you're following the Claynosaurz ecosystem, there are going to be ways for you to get soulbound collectibles. And guys, we're in Web3. Soulbound collectibles. You can also trade all that kind of stuff. Any digital in our ecosystem, more often than not can lead to things like tokens when the time is right, or other things. It's a way for us to track and reward either assets or collectors as well. And everything ports into our achievement system. The Popkins themselves are staking units as soon as the doors are open for staking. So
I'll be getting some. All right, let's rip a couple of these packs just to show it. And then, yeah, like Plap, we'll give you the share in a minute too, and we'll get you on there just to show how to open sort of a legendary pack to make me jealous, and I will very much be down for that. But let's go through this. Like you said, it's got sound, it's got animation. I'm going to open some packs right now, and you're going to tell me what it is I'm receiving. So right now, again, site's really cool. There's the burst mode, as you mentioned, up there. It's got all my wallet and all my informations. It has what I have pulled down here so far. This adorable little fellow, which, by the way, bonus points that everything is cute. As somebody with a 13-year-old and actually now 11-year-old, it is great to see. I said now 11-year-old as if I just acquired my son. He just turned 11, by the way. So
It was a grail.
yeah. Like I ran pure. He's really good. All right, let's open this sucker up and see what we get. I'm going to stop here because I got to load my wallet back in here. My bad. That's the one thing about the Phantom wallet is it constantly logs you out.
Why Steve's doing that, Cab? I personally love the dome this morning, but we do have some requests. Diego is asking, where's the beanie? Your signature beanie. He's missing it.
Cab with hat.
Diego definitely would ask. I'll put it on.
Well, I guess we'll see if I get my DX here. All right, we will confirm. I may have screwed up my own animation lag here, by the way, the way I did the site, so we'll see. I may have messed this one up myself because I just relogged in my my Phantom wallet. Yeah, let's do this. Let's Cap, I don't know if you are logged in with your deal. I'm going to try this.
I just don't know if you'll hear the music. Can you hear when I go, it's playing on the TV behind me. Can you guys hear it?
Here, I got it. Let me try one more time. Because I want to rip these and I want to
see everything out.
There we go. Now we're good. And so I click on it. This is the cool part, and we move a little. We got an explosion. I got some pity points. So I just got pity points out of this one. So I just got my pity points. So out of that one, I'm going to open another one, but explain the pity points for people who maybe don't understand what those are.
Sure. So the pity points were our way for having a raffle. The two, options are you don't win, right? You buy a lottery ticket, you don't win. Too bad. Rip it up, throw it away. Don't throw it on the street. Don't create trash. In this case, we wanted to say, okay, if you don't win the Popkin, you can still have fun. So we released the Clay and Claymaker collections in 2022 in January with the idea that people would select their classes. And we kind of felt bad at a certain point that we were saying, okay, well, we're collecting royalties on these, but it was more for people to have fun and have an eventual use case in the app that they could have, different benefits from their different class. So we said, why don't we turn off the royalties and use some of those royalties to sweep Claynos? So we picked up some Claynos, we had some in the vault, and we said, let's give those back. So we were trying to figure out what is the best way, what is the most fair way that we can reward our loyal followers, our loyal community members who have been with us for a long time. So we spoke about, okay, maybe we could do something with the achievement system, or we could do something here to try to incentivize, 97,500. Pretty damn cool, right? So if you lose, you get pity points. And after this, I can show you on my screen or yours, but there's a leaderboard for the people with the most pity points. And the top 50 people on that leaderboard, we're most likely going to let that run for the rest of this month to let people open as many packs as they want. And if you want to keep a couple just for provenance, people are still opening Pokemon cards, you can do that, but you got the vast majority, right? And at the end of that month, once we have that final 50, biggest losers, everybody on that gets an OG Clayno.
That's awesome. I love that. I love the mechanics here. I'll rip my last two, and then I want to give it over to you to show us the burst mode and sort of the other pieces. I'm going to put music back on because it's adorable. The other thing I like about this is so I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cryptoys, but Cryptoys had a great pack opening experience. This feels quite similar to the Cryptoys experience, where it's like, it's not just like you click it and it's like, here's what you got. There's some movement to it. I could click on it once and it's like, oh, okay, that's not doing much. I really got a force click here.
There's also story elements. So I don't know if you can find one, but if you get a escape pack, if you get an escape card, I don't know if you noticed it when you found one, but like the escape Popkin, it kind of like comes at you, laughs at you, and then like goes away. All of it was like from like a storytelling POV, because the whole point is these Popkins are mischievous.
Indeed. By the way, so I got the egg, so that's good news. That egg means that something in the game in October is going to be coming my way, right? Like, or there's going to be a relationship to that, which gets me super excited to think about. So I don't know. I'm pretty pumped. I have opened my 4-packs. I now am sitting on a couple of eggs, so that's good news. Which will be something in the game. I've got these
and
guys.
those, yeah. So the cool thing about the eggs is normally, like, as you know, or hopefully you do, the game that we're building with Gameloft, the mobile game, it is a consumer facing game. So you know, most people will start the game with an egg. They can hatch their Clayno, and they can over time collect other Claynos, but they have the ability to purchase eggs, because otherwise it's on a long timer, right? And so the eggs that you guys are getting are stuff that normies would normally have to pay for.
That's awesome. I love that. So that's a nice little freebie. I got my pity points. Again, totally adorable. So before I hand it over to kind of rip some of these other packs, and we'll do a screen share there. What is my optimal collecting strategy here? Do people I know people like to collect herds. So should I be looking for herds? Okay. How many species are there? Or should I be looking for something specifically? Like, what do you think the optimal collecting strategy is? Because I'm definitely going to buy at least a couple of these guys.
Okay, I'll give you some secrets. So you see at the bottom right, you have a number 5138. Bottom right, yeah, in that list. Oh, the last one on the list. This guy, yeah, that one, blue one.
Oh, blue one. This guy.
If
yeah.
you click this guy.
Oop, no, it went away real quick.
It went away. Actually, there's one in your main.
Here we go. Got him.
Yeah,
yep.
Cool. So if you see the red eyelids, that's a secret trait. The only reason the eyelids are red is because the stripe on his nose is red. There's a few fins like that. So we threw a slew of secret traits across the board that are not in the metadata. You just have to find them. So that's kind of like, there's a chaser system for diehard collectors. And over time, the more they find the secret traits, the more we're going to compile everything, and then we're gonna kind of add it to like a master collectors ecosystem poster, and show off the niches. But you're right. On the Clayno side, one of the biggest ways to collect is to create a herd, whether that means one of each species, or one of each species in the same colors, or one of each species in the same patterns but different colors, or like a super herd, which is one of each species in the same pattern, same color, same background, same animation clip, all that kind of stuff, are different ways that you can collect. And there's tiers, there's unlocks. You can, in our achievement system, you can also have like a species centric achievement. So it's like, if you get one of the species, you get you have points. If you get 5 of the same species, you have points, and so forth. So that's a way to become like a certain species maxis. But the whole point is that there's like a slew of achievements that are tied to the way in which you collect. I would suggest that if you're someone that wants a whole herd, that's the way to go. And the easiest one is like, well, one of each species. And aside from that, I'm not too worried about like colors and whatever. But most collectors, they're going to find the color and the style that they like, and they're going to attempt to find the exact same SKU in the different species, including the amount of layers. You can go full layer where all the patterns and the details are on the character, or one like this, which is a little bit simpler, where not all the layers are there. The grails are oftentimes something called 0 layers, which means it's like considered like a naked Clayno. But aside from that, you find your niche. These are all the special like rares or misprints or stuff like that. We wanted to like throw in a little bit of the joke of like what it looks like before it's properly on camera, or like the backstage approach of what it looks like in the 3D software. But yeah, there's so many ways to collect these things. So I would say you either find a species you like and you become a maxi, or you try to build these herds. Although for the Popkins, we're not calling them herds. We're calling them pods or clusters. The official name will be refined soon, but so let's call them pods for now. And all of that is gonna be included in the achievement systems.
Muted, Steve.
I said I love that. I love rarity being included in there. By the way, someone must have been listening to us because you mentioned this one, which was above floor, or the other one that was above floor with the Red Islands had no idea being bought. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I better live buy this one, and it was gone.
So that whole species in that specific pattern has the same thing. When we built the original Claynosaurz, we had a misprint happen, and they became Crimson Clan, which is charcoal or black dinos that have like a red underbelly. And that became a sub DAO for the snarlfin species of the pattern with the stripe on its nose. You've got like green eyelids, you have red eyelids. We kind of threw that in there to have fun. They're considered misprints because they're not supposed, the eyelids are supposed to be the normal skin color, but instead they're the stripe color. So it was kind of like a way to have a non-metadata trait in there. And we threw, it's not just those guys. It's like, it's across all the species. There's some secret traits that you have to find.
Are the little guys something special? Because I feel like the little guys,
they're so cute.
Is there like a metadata piece about the little guys? I didn't see it in the middle data, the metadata that it was a witty bitty guy.
Yeah, so you'll see their shape. You've got base, you have wide, and you have tall. There's different animations for each body shape, but essentially each Popkins has 3 possible overall body shape. It could be squashed and short, it could be long and tall and skinny, or it could be just like your default base model. And then there's all these different mutations. So again, collectors are going to start to kind of run the show here and understand what they like, what they want most. That's going to include like different mutations or like sub traits, like types of ears, whiskers, feathers, all that kind of stuff. And then which body shapes are the most sought after. Oftentimes that has to do with stats, but what we've experienced on the Claynosaurz side is it actually has to do with the ones that speak to people, and then they create sub DAOs around them.
I am shape size base wide, but I'm working on fixing that at the moment as a personal note. But Plap, let's do this. If you want to share on your screen, you can just go to the share screen at the bottom there and present, and make sure you share a Chrome tab, not an entire window, because then it'll be, sharing all your MetaMask and all that other stuff, or your Phantom or whatever it is. So go to share and share a tab, and maybe let's rip a couple legendaries to see how people see what that experience is like. Maybe batch a couple just to give people the the full on experience as they go. And let me know if you need help setting all that stuff up. But I'm looking at Claynosaurz, the Popkins, because I've been thinking about again, I'm thinking about whether I want to buy a couple that are matching or how I want to do it. I'm definitely going to get into the legendary pack game because I love a good lottery. So assuming that they are not too wildly out of whack, we'll do that. But yeah, let's rip some of these suckers.
All right. So, Steve, sorry to do this on live stream, but I have a couple more packs here. I'm obviously a big Claynosaurz supporter and big whale being a part of the team and believing in what we're doing. So I had 331 escape cards that I did open up, so I can show people the leaderboard before we do that. And this is not to flex or anything like that, but we've got the leaderboard with all the pity points, and we added this cool feature, and people can actually run, how lucky someone is. For example, here, I opened 333 packs. I've got just under 1,700, and the person below me actually opened 400 and has a little bit left. So there is a little bit of luck there within the luck, right? So on the opening side, I've opened up my one rat. I've opened up my my escape packs. We've got our items here, so people can go in and see all of their items that they have opened. My one Popkin and my one rat so far.
Those rats are great, by the way. The rats are so cute.
They're so cute. I love them. I've got all my escape cards. I've got all my eggs, and then you've got your leaderboard ranking here. On the pack side, so I'll open. Oh, it's opening up. Another tab. I opened the wrong one. Let me go back and do it from here. So I'm going to open up this guy. I have the wrong wallet connected. Nope, there we go. It's not, how do I do this? It's asking me to verify a transaction, but not giving me the button because I'm on screen.
Because you're on what?
Because I'm on sharing.
Okay, so maybe maybe just unshare, get to the booster pack, and then share again.
Yeah, once you're doing it, because we've seen the pack open process. So go ahead and get one open there, and once I'll watch, and once it's ready.
Perfect.
So also, are eggs tradable?
No, so eggs are soulbound. Again, digital's in our ecosystem though. But they're soulbound, and as soon as the game alpha, actually, I don't know if it'll be included in the alpha, most likely. When that's released, then you guys can start redeeming stuff in game.
Which I love to hear. All right, so I've got my 10 packs here. Again, I'll find my transaction. Nice. So we've got a couple really cool ones. I love this one with the little blue stripe here. I've got the yellow eye variation. I've got another little red stripe here, which is pretty cool. And then a couple of charcoals with a couple eggs just to throw those in as well. I can do another one on here. I'll open them up, and hopefully I pull something really, really rare.
Let's show single mode on the legendary packs.
Perfect. I'll do that as well.
It's such a fun thing. And again, this is part of what I liked about, I mean, look, like one of the things NBA Top Shot got absolutely right was the pack opening experience of you've got the music, you've got the packs, you open the packs, it's mystery. Which one are you clicking? And then you would click and get that moment open, and it would be epic. So I think like that's one of the things that I think gets lost in this space is people fail to think. And one of the things that I love about this experience you built is it is an end-to-end user experience, thinking about the person who is buying, not thinking about, okay, we sold, we're good. You know, the war is won, we're all finished. It's the opposite of that. It's, oh no, we sold, now it begins. And I think that makes it really, really fun.
Exactly. And that's one thing we've always tried to do. Again, with the initial mint, we minted end of November, and then by January we airdropped, the clay maker. February we were in Paris giving out croissant NFC chips, and then we were in LA and New York. There was always something going on to keep the community involved and keep them engaged in what we're doing. All right, so we've got a single pack here. So this one will be similar to the escape pack, where we get to choose which one we want to open. One escaped, two escaped. Ooh, that's a good one. So Steve, to answer your question earlier, we have some people who like to collect like this, where rather than having, okay, I've got a charcoal, a dark one with kind of the greenish yellow nose, and I'm going to get one of each species. We actually had some people in the original collection and with Popkins we've already seen on Twitter who then try to get all of the dodos that look like this to try to either corner the market, or they just really like it and they want to have that one. So it's really up to you. And that's what I think makes Claynosaurz in particular so much fun to collect there's no proper way to do it. It's whatever speaks to you.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. To me, it's far more effective than me trying to collect all of the Lou Dort cards on NBA Top Shot. It's a little bit more fun, a little bit more whimsical. And instead of like you said, cornering the market per se, it's, where, actually doing and collecting the things we want to collect. Yes, there are probably strategies that go along with that. But when I see people with herds or people collecting it, it's like, for me and for my money, I am shopping on some species basis here. So I don't know. I have a lot of decision. I will say I'm getting analysis paralysis because I like them all in different ways. And I'm definitely going to get a couple packs and want to save my sweet to give myself a chance to rip something pretty cool. But I don't know. I'm just going to go ahead and let's see what
what it comes down to is there are like thousands and thousands of combinations. Get the one that makes you smile. If you're gonna find a keeper for yourself, these are collectibles. We're gonna do all the things that we normally do at Claynosaurz with these things. So get the one that just like speaks to you.
Yeah, love that.
And then after that, deep dive.
That's what's gonna happen. And again, like I'm probably gonna get one of these little pterodactyl mini type looking guys, although they're more like little stingrays, or I don't even know.
Yeah, they're basically they're modeled after like prehistoric stingrays. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm probably gonna do is my son has I'm trying to look for a match because my son has a stingray and that came with a baby stingray. So like, and he's had it since we went to like Atlantis in the Bahamas, like years and years ago on a family vacation. So what I'm probably going to do, and we named him Ray and Baby Ray. And actually my dog is obsessed with Baby Ray. We could put Baby Ray like, in the crust of the earth, and my dog will dig it out and find Baby Ray. It's like one of those things, even though it's not his. And so I will probably get myself a Ray and Baby Ray at the very least. just for that purposes of that tie in there, and then go shopping around for some more. But definitely gonna look for some Lego packs, legendary packs, when I get to this, get to the secondary market. Look, I appreciate both you coming on bright and early with us as I look for my matching Ray and baby Ray on this thing.
Steve, I don't know if you can see the stage. It's been acting finicky. Raheem was up earlier, didn't even see it at all, had a hand up. We do have Machiavelli on stage.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if the guys have time for a question. And a lot of love on the jingle. I agree with Justin in the chat, said that I think both of us now have the catchy jingle stuck in our head for the remainder of the day. He says listening into the background and that jingle is super catchy. Feeling it's going to be on repeat in my head all day. I agree. Well done.
If you've seen the Popkins trailer, the full-length trailer, that song is we're refining it, but that is most likely the Claynosaurz theme song.
I'm just waiting for it to be like the next version comes out and you're like, and we have a collaboration, and it comes out, it's like do Mr. Worldwide, and just like Pitbull comes in and just starts being, got the Clayno rap going. But Machiavelli, I know you had a question here. Go ahead and get in, Machiavelli. GM.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. What an experience. This has been a great experience. Question on the mutations real quick, because I'm trying to build my little situation. What is the difference between the alpha, the beta, and the gamma, or the three different mutations?
It's on a per species basis. It's kind of like a global name. Otherwise, in the drop-down menus, when you're filtering in marketplaces, you would have had like just a bajillion filters to go through. So each species has three master mutations. On the example of the stingrays, it's a little bit of the tail shape, but it's mostly what do their ears look like. They either have no ears, they have little cat ears, or they have like antenna type ears. And in the case of the fins, it's the shape of the back.
So on the squibs, what is the biggest fattest squib? Is that the squib with the little horns around it?
So the squibs, they're the one species that's actually different. What they lack is body shape. They're essentially all the body shape, the same kind of like size, and you're collecting seashells. So that's the distinction. There's 5 of them.
Oh yeah, the shell's a little bit different. I see that. That looks awesome.
Yeah, there's 5 different types of shells to chase. They all have their rarity traits. Sasha, I don't know if you can point out which is the rarest shell. I think it's the star.
I'll just double check right now.
Don't point it out. Don't say anything else.
All right. It's by the way, some collector posters are gonna go out at some point soon, dude. So I think within the next week you'll have like some of the niche stats and like this big Giga collectors poster.
Yeah,
you got time.
Yeah, that's the other one I actually like. I think the squib is actually one of my faves because it feels like the most different on them. But they all have their own merit. Like dodos are fun for their kind of like dopiness. Like the Lumaray are like sitting there with their big smiling. Like I can hear like a tiny little kid's voice.
So cute. They're so cute. Yeah.
I can hear the voice in like a Pixar movie of like what that squib sounds like. Like you can hear it. It's just it's awesome. So.
And then for the squibs, like the ethos was like, well, dude, like we all remember collecting seashells. Let's do it digitally.
Yeah, it does have that vibe to it. And right now, again, like, for sort of like the sweet, if you're looking at like the sweet price, like I know these $200 packs, they're going just a little bit under mint for people. So you can get them, less expensive than you would have gotten a pack on some of them, which is like perfectly normal. And obviously the rares are going a little bit higher. So they're still in that range where it's like, if you got refunded, you can get yourself one if that's what you wanted, right? A lot of people were saying like, don't refund me. Well, you do have the opportunity to still get one now that you can love. And again, what I like about things is I'm always aesthetics over rarity guy. I think you did a really good job on the high rare ones because I was showing those earlier, but find something you vibe with. If you're into it, jump in. Look, it's not something that's going to rug tomorrow. I feel pretty safe about where Claynos are going. If you're building a game and you're building a series and you're building a collector score and you're putting this much effort in and you just sold 97,500 packs, feels like you're probably going to be around for a hot minute. So it feels like a safe one to be like, you know what? This collectible isn't going to have the metadata scrubbed and turn into image not found anytime soon.
We are going to be around for more than a hot minute. There are some huge things coming up for Claynos, and this year is a little bit bonkers. Like you say, the TV show just got announced. We celebrate that at the NSC Festival next week. That is basically the Cannes Film Festival for animation. We have the biggest public event happening on the Wednesday next week. that'll be onboarding over 1,000 students, creatives, and we've got a slew of executives showing up to that to the private part of that party. And the whole thing with Claynosaurz is we're building one of the next franchises, and it's going to be a story that comes from Web3, and that's the goal. So for sure we're not going anywhere.
That's awesome. Well, look, I looking forward to seeing what you build next. Anything else that we maybe didn't hit on that you want to make sure everybody knows who's listening? We showed the mechanics. We got through sort of the different packs you got. We've gone through some of the species. Anything we missed on this that you want to make sure we hit on before we let you all get out of here? And you've been so generous with your time. We very much appreciate it.
I think that's everything for me.
Yeah. Okay. For me, it's just a reinforcement of every digital across all of our ecosystems ties together, obviously through the achievement system, eventually through staking, and eventually through more. And the whole point is to build yourself a sort of collector's catalog as a collector, obviously. And to build your collector's profile over time, and all that has repercussions in the ecosystem. And so that's probably the last piece of alpha I'll give you guys. And then look for the ones that you like, build your herds, have fun, and we've got amazing collectors in the ecosystem that are more than willing to help. I'm going to give a shout out to Swivel Job because he's basically the matchmaker. If you ever have collectors questions, you go talk to Swivel. And yeah. Thank you for having us, man. It's been a wild week, and it's going to be a wild couple months as well.
No, appreciate both of you, and thank you for jumping on. Thanks for giving us your time, and thanks for always reaching out when you have something going on. We love having you on here, and it's like we love talking about the Claynosaurz. You guys restore faith in humanity in Web3, so thank you so much.
We'll give it a best shot.
Right on. Appreciate y'all. Cap, so fun. I mean, so fun. It's just like I mean, it's. I don't know. Like, I love this sort of stuff. Like, it's almost like, NBA Top Shot had this proverbial layup of collecting, right? Like this ability to like give people they collect something that had a built-in fan base. Claynosaurz is taking dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs, obviously. Big dinosaur guy. I had a tweet that actually one of my top early, like when I had 500 followers, like biggest runner tweets was, why has nobody created a dinosaur PFP collection? Like, and so, seems like an obvious thing. Like, it makes you want to like build your little collector crew, and they're thinking about like, what does your collector score look like? What goes into that? What are the different elements of the universe? What are the different species? It's just, they're thinking through things the right way. And I don't know. I very much appreciate that. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, well done. Yeah, just learning from the space and continuing to evolve, enhance, and yeah, appreciate the well thought out execution. Congrats to the team.
Yeah, congrats to the team. Pretty awesome to see. Cap, that said, I mean, look, I'll be ripping packs all day if I can get my hands on them. I'm definitely going to be looking for some of those legendary packs later when those go on sale. What else did you have in your tick list this morning? I have a couple other items, but I want to, let's hit on some others. I know we could keep going circle if you want, or we can move on to something else.
We did have no obligations. Raheem, if you wanted to jump up and get your weigh in on the stablecoin discussion, certainly more than welcome. No obligations on that. We'll give it a second here. Let's see if you want to jump up and talk stablecoins. The other stuff, I mean, I think we probably got to talk ApeCoin DAO a little bit, no?
Yeah, that was on my list as well.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I kind of sensed this coming for a while. But a fellow member of the club jumping up on stage. So let's do this. Before we get into that, we'll hand it off to Raheem here in a second and let him get weigh in on the circle and the stablecoin situation. And then maybe he wants to stay on stage to talk about give his opinions on what seems to be what will soon be the decommissioning of the ApeCoin DAO. But Raheem, GM, always a pleasure. Thanks for jumping up. What are your thoughts on this stablecoin thing? Do you think we see more stablecoin issuers? Do you think we see less? What do you think are the future of stablecoins holds?
GM, Cap, and Steve, always such a pleasure to hear you guys, the energetic voices, and super glad to be here. Yeah, it's actually exactly why I wanted to come up, because I think one of you put up the question that just like we have like so many L2s and infrastructures, do we see like a lot of stable coins come up? And but I don't think that would be the case. And it's just like, because I was digging into this like a couple of months before when Tether was absolutely printing, right? Like Tether is one of the most successful companies, not just in crypto, but like overall, like they've made billions of dollars in terms of like revenue. So, and the reason for that is, so you have stable coins come in like three ways. You either have fiat backed, which is what like USDT and USDC are. You have crypto backed, and this is where you must have seen like DAI sometimes on OpenSea or other ecosystems. And then you have the algorithmic one, which was the Terra Luna. Obviously, that didn't work. That was like a very Ponzi ecosystem. So that clearly did not work for us. The thing with DAI is, so DAI is basically a stablecoin out of MakerDAO. It works on like a complicated ecosystem where it's based on over collateralized BTC, ETH, and a couple of ecosystems. So you have to put 150% of value to get like 100% worth of DAI. So it's kind of like an intricate system, which is why like it never picked up. The reason Circle and Tether are like ended up becoming so big is they actually have straight up like a very traditional ecosystem. So they both hold like US treasuries. So one of the reasons that Tether made about like $5 billion in profit last year was because the amount of yield that they earned on just holding US treasury bonds and stuff. So when you're talking about like launching a stable coin, you need, and you're looking for a 1:1 bank custodian. That's not easy to do. A lot of banks wouldn't do that, because if you're a crypto product. B, in order to launch a stable coin, in order for your ecosystem to be stabilized, you need massive amounts of capital. Like I'm talking like billions of dollars and stuff, even to start off. I would argue you need at least $1 billion of collateral to be held in bank. So you need to have a regulatory ecosystem behind it. You need banks to be supporting it. And you have to remember, like, the reason we are open to exploring whether it's like Mega ETH or Sui or whatever, even if they come out as new chains, is because like we are speculating. But when you're moving money to stable coins, you are doing it not with the idea that stable coin is going to go up in value, is you are expecting it to not be depegged. It's going to be 1:1. For that, you need like a crazy level of like regulatory framework for you to be able to trust this. One of the other issues that you have is that it takes a lot of time for products to integrate stablecoins. Even now, in the last couple of years, we saw certain products that had only USDC and they wouldn't have USDT, and vice versa, because like, again, there's like a lot of regulatory risk behind it. Plus, when you're launching a stable coin, because it's supposed to be a stable asset, the last thing you want is a government or an entity shuts you down, and now you have like billions of dollars worth of liability and stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to bring this point because it was a conversation I was having a while ago, that just like L2s, why wouldn't like a lot of people just like launch stable coins, considering it is the most, and I believe Cap, you said that. I completely agree. I think it is the most consumer crypto product that has come out of the crypto space. So I live in Dubai. I meet a lot of people in Dubai who are from Lebanon, from Egypt, and Turkey. And the amount of people you meet who basically keep their entire net worth in stable coins, never held ETH, never held BTC, have zero interest, because their whole value proposition is that we want money that's not going to lose value. Yesterday, I put out a tweet about how the Egyptian pound has lost like 90% of its value in the last like 4 years. Same with like the Turkish lira. You have the same thing with like Lebanon. So there are people out there, they don't want like price appreciation per se. All they want is to somehow be able to hedge their own currency. And that's what stablecoins do. And this is why in 2021, when I was walking down Turkey, now this is 2021 November, because I remember posting a tweet about it, I came across a physical exchange that had 2 screens outside that were selling CryptoPunks and Bored Apes in 2021 November in Turkey. And that was my first time in Turkey, and that complete experience made me realize of how massive crypto is in a country like that. And it's exactly because of that, because the Turkish lira has absolutely like swarmed down over the last couple of years. And this is why you have such a big adoption of crypto. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on those 2 points, which I believe you guys spoke about earlier.
Well said. I agree. And I guess until recently, I've never really viewed stablecoins as having a moat. And I've even said on here, like, why doesn't Coinbase just drop their own stablecoin instead of pushing USDC on their distribution? I understand they own a good chunk of Circle. I'm sure they did great yesterday. What you just described, it's not just, you probably need at least $1 billion of capital to get started to be quote unquote stable and actually have some backing. I think as this stuff starts to happen, I'm showing on screen here a excerpt from Fortune Crypto today that talks about breaking Apple, X, Airbnb, and Google all holding early conversations with crypto firms about integrating stablecoins. Fast forward 5 years, and all these major companies have integrated with USDC and UST, and maybe there's a few others. After we're there, it's going to be very difficult for someone to come in, I feel, and kind of upset those incumbents. I'm not saying there's not space. I'm not saying we don't see more. The longer goes on, the more Circle and USDT get integrated into these major consumer brands. We just mentioned Uber. Not saying they couldn't integrate others, but what's the point, right? Like I think they built a big lead, and I think these integrations they could potentially create quite a moat.
Yeah, it's a good thought. I mean, I think like that is, it is actually very much helpful that it answers the question of why there aren't more, why they don't create their own. And I think that's a really smart, really good. I mean, Raheem, I have a very small list of smart follows that I have on a special list, and he's on that list for a reason. So I love that thinking process. And yeah, it's like, this is a killer product. Like, it may just be stable coins that gets people comfortable with the idea of crypto being like, wait a minute, like this isn't going up and down based on what the president of the United States says. It's just holding stable and giving me better yield than my bank, and giving me more opportunity. So I see it continuing to be integrated, and you see a few winners come out of this thing.
Although speaking of that, Steve, Mesh in the abstract chat says BNB launching a stablecoin with World Liberty Financial. Maybe that one does go up and down with what the president says.
Yeah, BNB is who knows what's going to happen there. Cap, let's hit. I know we got about 20 minutes left. Let's hit the AIP that Garga dropped yesterday. So for those people who missed it, I'll share a couple things here. Garga comes out with a tweet and says, so he had initially come out with this tweet that says, D Farmer had said about, the ApeCoin DAO and that being next after CryptoPunks, Moonbirds. He said, so it was, Garga quote tweeted the D Farmer tweet that was asking about it. Says, I've heard a lot of voices on this and similar ideas. At the end of the day, I just want apes and our core to fucking win. It requires being thoughtful, but also being kind of fucking ruthless, eliminating cruft, new word that people are using quite frequently, eliminating cruft, as much as possible, doing it in a way that's a win-win for everyone involved. We'll share more thoughts in the next couple of days. Well, those more thoughts came up right here. He said, heard a ton of feedback on my post below, and I've seen near unanimous support for this, support like this for, let me start that one back. I heard a ton of feedback on my post below, and I haven't seen near unanimous support like this for anything in a long time. People want to kill the ApeCoin DAO. The AIP process, this AIP proposes just that. It's time for a leaner, faster org to take the reins. So from there, and I'll pull this up into that tab, Garga shared what is about I would say, got to copy it in there. I would say what he shared, what's about, a 5 to 7 minute read. Apes do not read though. So he shared sort of a thought and a process on what this could look like. Ton of comments, ton of support. A lot of people really in the chat supporting this one. I will then share something that I had thrown together because I know apes don't read. So just to give everybody sort of the overview on the process, of what this is, because I knew apes wouldn't read. I tossed together a quick summary of this. So I put together, I know apes don't read, love my apes. Here's a quick summary of Garga's proposal, which I support. Sunsets the ApeCoin DAO, transfers assets to the new entity called ApeCo, still funds builders, but with higher standards. Focus shifts to things that benefit core ecosystem pillars, ApeChain, BAYC, and other sides. Ends token holder voting in the AIP process. Small portion of the assets will be used for admin purposes and previous obligations. No more cruft. And I put bottom line, ApeCoin is more focused, more accountable, and feels way more effective than the DAO. Cap, want to get your opinion on this. We saw this coming for a while. When the rumors of this first started, you and I talked behind the scenes, and you said, some people seem upset about this, but you supported it. So talk to me a little bit about your thought process of why you felt good about it, even before this whole thing went down, and where your head's at with it.
I was very wrong about DAOs being a mechanism to become a new business model, right? Like I thought like 2021, I was the first time I heard about DAOs, started diving into DAOs. Like this could be another way to scale an organization. Similar like franchising was a different way to scale businesses and a chain of stores as opposed to all corporately owned. I was just wrong. It's a very bad way to run a business. It's in hindsight, such a dumb idea to let other people, yes, they are vested, but just because someone might hold, they got lucky and they now hold 10, they hit on a big win. They were early to a meme coin. Now they hold 10 million ape and they're going to tell you how to run your business. It's just dumb. Like DAOs aren't dumb. They make sense in some cases. If you want to go buy, if you want to get a group together and acquire some art, fine, cool, whatever. But to actually run a business and build something off votes of strangers, which all, by the way, may change, it's just, I say this, we're grateful for the DAO. We got supported by the DAO. It was our biggest sponsor ever, was our 6-month partnership with the ApeCoin DAO. It was 98% vote. I think most people were thought it was a worthy AIP, and we were grateful for the funding and support. I feel we've delivered far more value to Ape and the Ape ecosystem than what our sponsor money has paid us thus far. That's on us. We gladly talked about it without collecting any sponsorship money because we enjoy the ecosystem. We're passionate about it. That said, unfortunately, I think we were one of the exceptions in terms of good use of funds. I'm not even talking about the AIPs getting approved, Steve. Let's say that the ApeCoin DAO wasn't created, and instead Garga and Gordon decided, okay, we dropped ApeCoin, and as part of it, we have a new division now that's going to support builders, and it has $1 billion of ApeCoin in it. I'm going to repeat it again. It has $1 billion of ApeCoin in it. Over $1 billion at the peak. Anyone reasonable, anyone with any sort of financial acumen, they're not going to leave $1 billion in a highly volatile asset. Also one that we knew was likely to go down over time, at least in the short term. It ran up on the other side. Anyone with any financial, a CEO, a CFO, they're going to say, hey guys, this $1 billion is now $20 billion. We should stable at least half of these coins for the business sake. Never happened. We actually put up a proposal to do just that, not the whole thing. And this is after the fact, but it was $10 million. It would have been the second or third highest AIP at the time. And it wasn't that we wanted $10 million. We just thought that the DAO was being very poorly managed from a financial standpoint. And it was. I don't say this to anyone's face who was involved on a special counsel there. It's just they bled out a DAO that could have had, still to this day, in excess of $1 billion in it. And instead it's, I don't know, maybe a little over 100 million. And I do believe that when I say $1 billion, I think I'm being extremely conservative. I think at its peak, it was probably north of 10 to $20 billion. And they did nothing with it. Though we weren't the only ones who proposed this. It's just our AIP never even got to vote. Why? I don't know. I'll probably never know. But there was people there in the special counsel that we weren't the only ones that had AIPs that sat in admin review for 5-6 months. It was just very poorly ran. I'm not even blaming individuals. I just think structurally speaking, it was broken. And I think this is not a hot take. It seems to be almost unanimous. There are some people who are pushing back against this, and I respect those individuals, and they're free to have those opinions. The fact of the matter is that DAO was broken. It was not being managed well. Could things change? Might under this new structure and new leadership, could things get better? Sure. But the reality was it was ran very poorly. I think DAOs to run an organization are not a good idea. Even if you make the right decision, oftentimes you're dragging it out. It takes so long. And even when you make the right decision, you're gonna have a certain port of people that are gonna be upset. They're gonna be pissed off. They're gonna leave the organization because they voted for something that you voted for something that they didn't agree with. It's just for so many reasons. I can go on and on, but I just say, I think DAOs are a very poor, non-optimized ways to scale an actual business. It's fine if you want to go collect something or they can serve a purpose, but for running a multi-billion-dollar organization, it's just dumb. No one will ever do that again.
I think we're still playing around with the experience, and of what this experiment can put together. I think
exactly that. It was an experiment, and hey, no one's I'm not mad. I'm not upset. We participated in the experiment, but it's played out. It didn't work. There's better ways to do this, and yeah,
I think
DAO isn't it.
I think, and I know we got some hands here we can go to in a second. I'm actually going to do daily market update first, and then we'll go to hands and bring people in on this. I have some thoughts on this, which I'll hold. But yeah, I think like you can talk about DAOs all day long where it's like, I don't know, a DAO that has soulbound tokens that you can restrict access to if that person leaves the DAO or wants to leave the DAO or have some sort of an exit philosophy from the DAO that allows egalitarian voting rights, things like that. Because at the end of the day, someone can just go buy a bunch of ApeCoin, push an AIP through. The DAO can control what happens. You can tip the scales. And to your point, we did our best to deliver as much value back on our AIP as we could, if not above and beyond. I don't think a lot of people thought of it that way. And you saw a lot of dumb stuff get approved, and we talked about it.
Well, like, to your point, not only were people buying ApeCoin to get their stuff pushed through, it's like people didn't pay attention. Like it just, I don't know. Like I don't know the exact number, but I think it was like maybe 1 to 3% of the ApeCoin would vote on any AIP. And majority of that was owned by a few wallets. Like it's like it's just for the amount of money at stake, it's idiotic in hindsight.
Well, and for the purpose of it, right? Like now they're really focused and they're controlling it, but the purpose of it, and again, I'll give some opinions after we go to hands and do the update, but like when you think of the purpose of the DAO and how much money's at stake, and everybody was just waiting for like the biggest holders in the DAO to come in and vote, like it was basically like everybody would be like, I support this, would be like, thanks, but you know, until we see what Mochaverse does.
Really
yeah.
Yeah. If you at there was one point,
and Machi and yeah.
If you didn't get Machi or Mocha CN to vote, it did, like you had to get 2 people to vote for you. If they both said no, 98% of the community could say yes. It didn't matter. It's just like it was not represented the community. It was not represented what people wanted. It was a mechanism for people to extract from the community. Now, did some community members get funded? And if they like, I think a ThankApe, and they did a phenomenal job, right? They should have gotten funded. They've helped a lot of businesses. The idea of a DAO got me really excited. This war chest that Yuga could use to fuel their builders. Unfortunately, I've seen too many of my friends that have, they want to build in the ecosystem, and they've been attempting to get funded for months, and they haven't. So is Yuga going to fund all of them? No, they shouldn't. But I think it'll be a much more efficient, much more streamlined process. I do expect the checks to get much smaller. Like instead of $1 million AIPs, I think, or even $250,000 AIPs, which was going to be like the new threshold of voting, I think you might see more like $25,000 to $50,000 checks.
Good,
which is fine. Like be a seed starter. Like you don't need to go fund someone that's already got millions of dollars in funding. Like help your community go from 0 to 1. And I think Yuga is in position to do that. They know who has been here. They know better who should support than some random wallet in the DAO that just went and picked up a couple million ApeCoin.
Yeah, there should be a higher standard. It should be based on the benefit to the ecosystem. But let's do this, Cap. Before we run to hands, and we'll get some hands, and we can run a little bit long today if we need to. We don't have anything till I think we have a meeting at 11 o'clock with someone I forwarded to you. But outside of that, like we got time to run on this if we need to. So I'm going to do the Ape Chain update. I'll let you get that in, and then from there, we will swing over to hands. I know we got some patient hands on stage.
It's a deadly market update straight to your brain. Powered by ApeCoin, no hype, just gains. Moving on Ape Chain, we bringing the heat. NFTs, fence alpha, never miss a beat. Ape Chain on top, now we bringing the flex. The home of NFTs, please now what's next? Come on, my head top, but you want the time to chop off for one time.
It is time for the Daily Market Update powered by ApeCoin, the home of NFTs. Ape Chain has it all, bringing culture, fun, and community to the blockchain. Dive in and see why Ape Chain is on top. Cap?
Buckle up today. We have the winner of the cycle. I'm going to show you. It's very clear and obvious, a particular coin that has won the cycle. Steve, before I go there, do you know who it is?
Do not.
It is so obvious we have a cycle winner. First of all, we'll start with majors. Bitcoin down 1% on the day, 104.235. ETH down 5% to 24.88. XRP down 2% to $2.17. Solana at 151. That's down 1% on the day. Doge down 6% to 18 cents. And Cardano down 3% to 66 cents. We're going to skip over rooms because no one cares about them anymore. Now, do you see the winner of the cycle?
I do not.
Sounds like Steve's in the bathroom. So I'm just going to read it out loud. Doge down 6% on the day, as I just mentioned. These are memes here, the leading memes. Shiba down 2% on the day. Pepe down 5% of the day. Trump down 8% of the day. Bonk down 3% of the day. The exception, Fartcoin, back up to $1.05, up 15% on the day while the rest of the market bleeds out. I believe that's what they call strength, Steve. I hold no Fartcoin. I need Fartcoin, and I'm FOMOing some Fartcoin this morning.
Do you have any? Or
no.
you? Yeah, see, I have none, and I don't know. I know this is famous last words. I don't think upside's not good enough for me to get playing in it at this point with current market cap and where it sits. I get it. People are like, oh, you should hold some. I don't know, man. We'll see.
I'm gonna say, Bill. I think what I may look to do is trade it though. It's the one that continues to recover. So if we see it dip down again to, I don't know, 70, 80 cents, I may look to actually trade it and then just sell it once it pops back up, because it's done this multiple times now. NFTs, bloody day across the board. Infinix patrons down 11.58%. I'm not sure if something happened over there or not. I haven't heard, but a lot of volume and down almost 12% on the day to 1.76 ETH. Pudgy's down 2% to 8.84. Apes down 1.82% to 12.96. Mutants down 0.62 to 2.09. CryptoPunks down basically flat to 47.91 following that auction and a few of those getting moved around. And I have no idea what Bambi Lands is. It's a Ethereum NFT. If anyone knows that, it did 69 ETH in volume, only 0.03 ETH, but down 27% on the day. That's our daily market update brought to you by ApeChain. ApeChain on top and home of NFTs. Steve, back to you.
Awesome. No, I mean, look, I'll probably stay clear of the Fartcoin trade, but I appreciate everyone who's won on that. I have faded it way too long, and it's been a bad job out of me. Let's hit some hands here, though. So I know we have 3 hands on stage. We're going to start with Justin. Justin, GM.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? By the way, I know you said you can run over it today, but just I think Garga's on it at 10 Eastern. So people, just for you guys, probably want to be there too. But all right, so here, I'm not sure my opinion yet, because look, I approach things usually very I guess I would say entrepreneurially, right? So if you're looking at a problem with the DAO, approach it let's say a surgeon, right? Is it something that can be cured, or does it need to be completely removed? And then if it's completely removed, does that solve all of the problems that, let's say, are there? And right now, to be honest, I'm left with more questions than answers, which is not a great thing at this point, right? As an example, and by the way, this is why I came up, because maybe I've just been out of the loop, and these answers have been put forth since I was more in the loop. But as an example, Banana Bill. Is there an entity that actually oversees the Banana Bill? What is that entity? Who are the main partners in that entity? With this new, ApeCo, what kind of entity structure will that be?
Banana Bill is going to roll in.
There's a lot of still questions that to be determined to even see, okay, where is this going to go? Is this even going to be more effective than a DAO? Or would a better route have been, hey, we noticed there are problems with the way that DAOs have been run traditionally. This is an experimental space. Let's try something creative, innovative, that maybe doesn't follow the traditional DAO. Maybe it's not even a DAO, but maybe that's, ApeCo. I just don't know much about it, and hopefully more answers will come forth. But the other thing is, it's weird. It was strange that underneath ApeCo, there are 3 pillars that include the other side and Board Ape Yacht Club. But what is Yuga doing then? What? I don't understand. There's a new.
So I can answer these.
That's also going to support the pillars that Yuga's in charge of.
Yeah, I can answer all those actually in a couple points. So number one, Banana Bill. I believe Garga did reply that Banana Bill is going to roll, the Banana Bill funds and things are going to roll into ApeCo. So I believe that is going to be there. I don't think Banana Bill is anymore, and that's what's going to be. They've been calling it, I think, the ApeCoin Ecosystem Fund for a little bit now, and had made some changes there because Banana Bill, we were critical of Banana Bill on our show, and it's something that we had talked about, including the DAO we've been critical about. So I'd say that's thing number one. I think number two, Yuga is pushing those things. I think what they're trying to do is focus. Actually, before I even get to that, because that was your third question, I think on your second question, the reason they're doing it this way is I don't think they have time to play around anymore. I think that they did the DAO. The DAO was not super successful. They tried Banana Bill. We didn't see as much come out of that, right? And that was another one where I heard a lot of feedback on Banana Bill. We on our show had the Banana Bill people on stage, and we told them to their faces, there are people who haven't heard back for 6, 7, 8 months. What's going on here? Meanwhile, they see funds being spent here, there, and everywhere that maybe didn't make as much sense. So we gave that feedback directly. So I think. Go ahead, Cap.
I just want to yes, and yes. I also want to say, you said this in your post this morning. We were critical. We did not have good experiences with both. We got funded by the DAO. We had very poor experiences with the DAO. We had very poor experience with the Banana Bill and adjacent parties for a while. we noticed a stark difference, like a 180 in terms of our dealings interaction. So while we had those frustrations, I don't want to come across as that's directed at the current leadership team, because speaking for Steve and myself, who have dealt with all these parties, I think, is it safe to say, like, this is by far the most professional and from our perspective, the most buttoned up and like protective of funds. Like it's just like there was like no more dumb shit. I do my impression is they've stopped the dumb shit.
Well, and this is where I would build on that, and I'll kind of like build on that, and then I'll answer your last question about the things they support. Just because to your point, like we actually have had those conversations behind closed doors, because we did, to Pap's point, go through the DAO process, didn't have as great of an experience, didn't have a great experience with that banana bill process. But to your point, what Cap said, once this new structure sort of started getting, I would say, soft launch, so to speak, where it was like, look, they had some funds not related to the DAO that they were working with, that they were just working with on their own. We got on the phone, we delivered full feedback to a couple of people there. And it went from us not hearing back for months and a lot of people having that issue to, we had a call 1 week, we spun up a proposal, we had a call the next week. They looked at it with a merit-based business focus where we pulled down our ask because of the things that they were looking at.
Like, I mean, like to give them credit, it was by far, I don't know, we've maybe worked with a little over a dozen sponsors on the show. By far the most protective for the other organization. We're not going anywhere. Like, it's not, we've never received any amount of money that from a sponsor that would be worth it for us, for Steve and I, just like rug the sponsor and not come through on our commitments and our obligations. And we're just not that kind of people. However, they don't, I mean, I think they probably know that, but at the same time, they're doing it the right way. They're protecting the entity, they're protecting the funds. And yeah, it was like the most, I'm not finding the right words, but like the agreement we entered into was by far the most one-sided for the other party of anything we've entered into. In fact, most of our sponsors just send us the funds, and after we send them an invoice, and they say, you know, on a trust you bro model. So like,
wait, can I ask you a question then? Who is that agreement with? Who is the other entity that your agreement was with?
Next question. I think I can answer. I want
to.
See,
this is why I'm saying there are more questions than answers. And the final thing I'll say is just about the focus. Like, listen, I told Garga this, right? I'm all about lean startup, but you also have to have a lean product and to talk about culture, gaming, other side, all underneath one roof. It's like,
but that's not what it was. But that's not what it was. Like that was.
I think you ask. Look, we're all apes from the early 21 days. You put 10 apes in a room, ask them, hey, what is the other side concisely? What is Bored Ape Yacht Club as a brand? You get 20 answers. Like, it's the clarity is not there yet, in my view, but I don't know.
I actually like, so a couple things on that, like on that, as far as like, just to build on Cap's thing one more time, when we're asking about process, just to give like faith in process, like even on the end of Ape Chain side, we're being properly like managed with like a client relationship with a single point of contact over there, and getting feedback on things like our jingles and other things. Like, it is very much like when I was in the corporate world, the way people manage things in a very like structured way. Like, it's good.
They went from JV to varsity. Like we preview, not just ApeCoin, most of the people, it's just they leveled up. Like, they're actually now operating like a real business, like a real corporation, like we would expect for like DraftKings or someone else that like, it's no longer operating like a, you know, crypto startup that just got their first round of funding.
And the other thing, just to talk about focus, because I actually agree with you, what you pointed out would have been too broad, but in the AIP specifically, and this is why I tossed that summary up, they said ApeCo's mission will be supercharge the ape ecosystem by supporting high quality builders and reinforcing 3 pillars: Ape Chain, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and other side, which they are building against those. But what they're saying is that as one ecosystem, if you bring a proposal to ApeCo, it has to be focused on those things, which I actually said, we told the Banana Bill team on this stage, can you give us some sort of even broad categories instead of saying apply for Banana Bill to build an ape chain and everybody's throwing everything at them? Whereas you could have said, here's 4 categories plus an other category of infrastructure, whatever, yada, yada, yada. You could have done that. They're being even more focused and saying, we want the ape ecosystem to thrive. That's Ape Chain. So if you're building something on Ape Chain, that's going to be a business on Ape Chain. That's probably going to work. Bored Ape Yacht Club. If you are building something that benefits the club, you're going to have that opportunity. Or other side, you're building something that is going to be additive to other side. So the idea is they're effectively, you know, using the funds to direct towards the ape ecosystem, which should align people and is going to help Ape Chain, which helps ApeCoin. Bored Ape Yacht Club, which helps the club, or other side, which helps both. And so I think like what they're looking at is how can we take builders within our ecosystem, give them a core focus of these three things, and give them the creativity to say, what would you build on ApeChain? Is it a high quality? Is it a business like the F1 type thing where it's going to give a ton of transactions? Is it a business that's a smaller business, but it's going to be good for the community? Is it going to be something like what we do, which helps promote and bring people onto the chain? Is it going to support the club itself? Is it going to be additive there? It's like for example, and again, this is like a non-revenue generating example. And then, Cap, I'll hand it to you to cover this as well as take us over to hands. But like as a non-revenue generating example, if I am Bored Ape, I'm going to like do something at Ape Fest that's going to be additive to Bored Ape Yacht Club. It's going to get more people to want to get excited to attend. You could probably get this funding from that if you could show why it works. You know, if you're like, hey, my best friend is Justin Bieber and I can get him to perform at Ape Fest, you're probably going to get some funding across that or whatever it is. You know, I'm making it up, or you're going to have some giveaway or something. So I think that like supporting those three pillars are making it a little more focused. No, I understand your pushback. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just trying to answer your questions. What I'm trying to say is like, one, I know this is more efficient than them. Two, they don't have time to mess around anymore or the funds are going to get depleted. And three, like the process we went through was as clean as a process that I've been through and as close to what I've done with you know, the professional world as possible while still being on the Web3 side. And four, you know, we're being managed by a single point of contact. And four, the focus is on things to say, this money is not just going to be, hey, buy it and wrap a BMW or go do something fun with it. You know, this is going to be money that says, hey, we want this to support people coming into this ecosystem and enhancing it.
Fade and fast, Steve, because we do have Garga warming up on the other stage. I don't think he's up there yet, but the stage has started. So I'll link that up top. And anyone who wants to continue the conversation, roll over to Rita's space. Garga is going to be jumping on stage here soon. Before us, though, the perfect transition. We're going to go to Simple Farmer for a question next and weigh in on this ApeCoin DAO. Speaking of Simple Farmer, founder of Clutch Markets. Clutch Markets are Cap's Clutch Market Parlay of the day. Today, we're going the Cards and the Mariners. If both teams hit, a listener who reposted today's space is going to take home that 32.8 ape on Monday. Yesterday, Billy Betts went 7-1 on Major League Baseball, Steve. I unfortunately picked the 1 L. So we did not have a winner yesterday, but I feel good about the Cards and Mariners tonight. A Simple Farmer, GM, always a pleasure, sir. What brought you up today?
GM, guys. Yeah, I just wanted to get a word in regarding the, abolishment of the ApeCoin DAO. I think just to give some background info, I was born in Bosnia, Herzegovina, and there was like a genocide in the early 90s. Anyways, after that war, there was a big, the United States essentially came in and set up the government. And so I'm from a city-state in Bosnia that ended up having like its own mini government. And that city-state operated on a similar system to this AIP system with grants essentially being given to people with voting power. And it is, so now 20 years later, it is like one of the most corrupt places in the whole world. It's one of the worst managed budgets in the history of the earth. And what I wanted to say in regards to that is that the ApeCoin DAO being abolished is good. But the best part of the AIP that Garga proposed is the abolishment of the AIP system, because those grant systems are easily gamed. People figure out ways to get funds through the back end. So, as a builder on ApeChain of a revenue generating DApp, Clutch Market, and an NFT community, Clutch Puppies, it's just music to my ears. I love what they're doing. Everything has been going really well since I got on the chain maybe like 25 days ago now. And like you said, the professionalism has been next level, because I was in contact with ApeChain 6 months ago, and I was in contact with ApeChain recently, and it's day and night. So it's kind of like a perfect storm. There's something big going on ApeChain right now, and I think it's going to be a special rest of the year. I love what they're doing. I love the new direction and leadership. I love all of the folks that have came on, including Cam, the new CEO of Ape. So just wanted to say I'm super excited, and shout out to you guys. Hey, you're also part of this, onboarding process. I think it's going to go really great. For those who aren't on ApeChain yet, definitely take a look. The crazy thing for me, Cap, is we've been on ApeChain for 14 days with Clutch Market, and we're already top 5 by revenue generated from all DApps on ApeChain. And there was $900 million spent before we got here, and we got, some of the AIPs are like $250K for products that don't even exist. We got 1/10 of that and are doing insanely good revenue for the stakers on the platform. So,
well, I'll just say this: we're grateful you found the platform. We're big fans of you, fans of Clutch Markets, and I think this is a great snapshot of, I think, what we might see more of is builders like yourself who aren't here to extract $2 million to go screw around and not actually ship anything. It's you're already proven to be a great asset to the community, the ecosystem. And I think this new structure will lead to more of this. It'll attract more good builders, not corrupt extractors. And I'm not saying everyone who got an AI pre-approved in the past couple of years is an extractor, but it absolutely did happen. I don't even want to go back and total up all the funds that were extracted and we never even see a product launch, but it absolutely happened. And I think it's just like that. Could it still happen? Yeah, sure, it could happen. The chances of it happening now are just so far less, I feel. And I think it's a good move. I'm excited for it. I'm supporting it. I also know there are some people I respect on the other side, and I respect their opinions. From my experience, I think this is a no-brainer. Steve, I pinned up a post up top. Special guest Tuesday. I'm not going to say who. We're going to leave it a secret for now, but it may or may not be related to this conversation. You're not going to miss Tuesday's show. Go smash that reminder. We don't have it. It's so important. I did it pre-carousel. It's the only space link we have for next week. Tuesday's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, they may or may not talk about Croft. Look, that said, let's let everyone sail off another day. I want to go listen to Garga anyway, and then we have a meeting at 11. So, Cap, if you saw that when I forwarded to you, we will get that going. Thanks to everyone who came through this morning. We will talk to everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.